trainer is very different from being a teacher. We have that mindset in our school. We have seen teachers, oh, it's just a syllabus, we'll deliver what it is and we are done. But that's not what is training. Training is entirely different. When you become a trainer, you have to be more of a facilitator, especially if you are training adults. For adults, the training methodology is completely different than kids. So do you know how to teach kids? Do you know how to teach adults? Do you know how to teach adolescents? Even when you are training adults, do you know how to train somebody who is in their 20s to mid 30s? Do you know how to impact people who are in their mid 30s to their 50s? And then if you have trainees who are beyond 50 to 65, that's a different age group. So are you able to connect with them as per their their mindset? That is something very important. And that's when as a trainer you can impact people, right? So all of these things put together makes you a good trainer.
Okay. I am fine, ma'am. And what about you, ma'am?
I am doing excellent as well. Thank you so much for asking. And thank you for wanting to have this conversation with me. I am looking forward to a good conversation with you. So why don't you start by telling me a little bit about yourself?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. My name is Deepak Kumar. I am from Patna, Bihar, and currently I am staying in Bangalore to pursue my MBA. I have done my graduation in English honors, and apart from my qualification, I am good at writing content and making videos on YouTube. Currently, I am running my own YouTube channel through which I have interacted with so many people. And ma'am, that's all from my side.
Okay, all right. That's wonderful. So what is your channel all about? Tell me a little bit about that. What kind of content do you write and what do you like to create?
Actually, ma'am, I just create a content that is based on interview skills and the spoken English as well. I just interact with so many people who just come from the different backgrounds.
Okay. So why specifically interview skills? Is there any personal story attached to it? Like, did you realize that interview skills are very important from a specific incident in your life?
Yes, ma'am. When I, ma'am, started my career as a job seeker, then, ma'am, I got failed in so many interviews. I was not able to introduce myself because I got hesitate so much during the time of the interview. So, ma'am, at that point of time, I just thought that I had to create my own channel through which I can interact with so many people and to remove my hesitations as well through facing the people and facing the camera.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. And by the way, I'm sorry, Deepak, my cat is really in a playful mood today. He wants to be around me, so he's roaming here on the table
okay,
where
ma'am,
I'm sitting. Okay, all right. So yeah, I think that's a very, personal story for most of us. When we start our career, we are never aware of anything in regards to interviews. We are not prepared in our school. We are not prepared well. Now sometimes some private organizations like institutions, they prepare their students for interview. But that is also towards the very end of the semester. So students generally don't get that time or that exposure to prepare themselves and make themselves geared enough for facing interviews. So I think that's a very common problem that most of us face. And I have also, to be very honest, faced the same thing from time to time. So when you started your journey, when you realized that, okay, interviews are a great deal and I have to spend some time, on my interviews, how did you prepare yourself at that time? What did you do to prepare yourself at that time when it was your initial days?
Actually, ma'am, when I got failed in my first or second interview, ma'am, then I realized that I need to work on myself. I just created my own YouTube channel, writing some of the content through the storytelling, through which I can express myself in front of the interviewer in my own words. Because, ma'am, expressing my own words gives me a lot of confidence while speaking. So, ma'am, I just write a content and my work on the myself and while talking to my friends, talking to my teachers. So, ma'am, this kind of thing can help me a lot in
Okay.
this journey.
Good, good, good. All right, wonderful. So, apart from your work, what is it that you do when you are not working? What do you like to do as a person?
Actually, ma'am, when I am free from my work because
Hmm.
my the work has a very hectic schedule. Right now I am working as a sales associate, and in
Mm-hmm.
sales associate I need to interact with so many people, solve their queries as well. So, ma'am,
Absolutely.
whenever I just get a free time from my work, I just started writing content and
Mm.
the making videos on the YouTube. So,
Mm.
ma'am, in my free time, I just do two of the things as well.
Oh, so well, for me, making content and making videos is also a part of work because that's your side hustle. It's
Yes,
called the side hustle, right?
definitely.
But apart from that, as a person, Deepak, what does Deepak like to do in his actual free time when you are not doing any work?
Actually, ma'am, I just see some of the podcast as well through which people
Mm-hmm.
interact with and to share their views and opinions as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, ma'am, also like to travel some of the natural places because it ma'am gives me so much calmness of my mind through which
Absolutely.
I can write other good content. I can take the better decision in my life. So, ma'am,
Hmm.
I can do all those things in my free time. Free time.
Amazing. That's very nice. I think, yes, traveling, whatever you said, it is true about traveling. I find a lot of perspective about life when I'm traveling, especially, I'm into road trips. So I really love, going through beautiful roads, and the drive itself is something which is very exhilarating. And I get a lot of answers to a lot of questions that I have in my mind, a lot of doubts that I have in my mind. Somehow while traveling, it gives me clarity of thought. So have you ever experienced something like that while traveling?
Definitely, ma'am. I have experienced a lot during the time of traveling, and, ma'am,
Mhm.
it's the help me a lot in my life to the take a better decision. Because, ma'am, whenever I just took a break from my hectic schedule, and you just also know about the corporate world because previously you just also be the part of the corporate company. So, ma'am,
Yeah,
there are so many things can happen through which traveling can help me a lot.
absolutely. That's true. That's true. Okay, so yes, Deepak, what questions or any questions that you have for me today?
Ma'am, if a person want to become a trainer, what kind of skills they need to have to become a good trainer?
Amazing. So, if a person wants to become a good trainer, first of all, they need to understand the fact that knowing a skill does not qualify them to become a trainer. So, that's the first thing that anybody needs to understand. Like, if I know how to do yoga, it does not mean that tomorrow I can teach yoga to people. So a lot of
Mhm.
times, and I think most of the times, this is what people start believing, that okay, if I know this, then I can teach this. But that is not the qualification or the criteria to become a trainer. To become a trainer, first thing is having the right kind of mindset. Okay, being a trainer, anybody needs to first have the mindset that I want to impart skills to people and improve their quality of life in some way or the other. That should be the first thing. Okay, if you have the first thing in your mind, I want to become a trainer and I want to earn 10 lakhs in a month, then your entire perspective is blurred with the financial factor that you have in
Okay.
front of you. Does that mean financial factor should not be a part of it? Of course not. You are not going to invest your time and your effort into something for not getting the financial benefit. But what I'm saying is the financial benefit cannot be the first criteria. Okay, so first having that mindset, that how is it that I want to impact people's life. Number two, do I have the soft skills which are needed to be able to train people? Because knowing the language is the hard skill, or knowing yoga is the hard skill. Do I have the soft skill? Do I know how to interact with people? Do I know how to be patient in situations? Because every learner is going to be different, right? Do I know how to manage my time well? Because training someone is all about managing your own time as well.
Hmm.
So if you are juggling with your own time management, you first develop that skill, right? The
Definitely.
next thing, am I empathetic? Because you cannot be a trainer and not be empathetic. You have to feel for people. You have to understand their mindset. And it does not matter whether you are training people on English, or you are training people to cook, or you're training people to drive a car. Doesn't matter what training you are giving. If you want to train people, means you want people to listen to you, what you are saying, and execute the things that you want them to do. And you cannot do that if you cannot emotionally connect with them, right? So are
Okay.
you an empathetic person? Do you have that soft skill? How is your own communication? Not English, not the language. How is your communication skills? How well, how clearly, how simply can you express your thoughts to people? How do you speak? Take feedback from people. Do they like listening to you? Record your own videos and see, are you as a person liking listening to you, or liking the way that you are speaking, or are there changes that you want to make there? Then work on that skill,
Definitely.
right? And
Absolutely.
then, of course, know the basics of training people. What are the basics? What do you need to do? Or what are the things that you should keep in mind to train people? Do you know how to give feedback? Do you know the different types of feedback? Can you differentiate between the type of feedback you need to give to person A versus person B? Because you cannot give the same kind of feedback to everybody. Not everybody is receptive in the same manner, right?
Definitely.
Are you able to constantly motivate people? Are you someone who can constantly motivate people? Are you someone who can constantly encourage your learners? So being a
Definitely.
trainer is very different from being a teacher. We have that mindset in our school. We have seen teachers, oh, it's just a syllabus, we'll deliver what it is and we are done. But that's not what is training. Training is entirely different. When you become a trainer, you have to be more of a facilitator, especially if you are training adults. For adults, the training methodology is completely different than kids. So, do you know how to teach kids? Do you know how to teach adults? Do you know how to teach adolescents? Even when you are training adults, do you know how to train somebody who is in their 20s to mid 30s? Do you know how to impact people who are in their mid 30s to their 50s? And then, if you have trainees who are beyond 50 to 65, that's a different age group. So are you able to connect with them as per their their mindset? That is something very
Definitely.
important. And that's when, as a trainer, you can impact people, right? So all of these
Definitely.
things put together makes you a good trainer.
Definitely.
Mhm.
That's the reason why, ma'am, most of the teacher fail to get a training certificate as well, because training is a different thing. Teaching people is a different thing.
Correct. Absolutely. It's
Hmm.
very different. And that is one difference, which also differentiates the price point. I'll give you a very
Hmm.
simple example, right? Um, I have worked for the last 12 years. I have invested time, effort, money in my own development. I have worked on my soft skills, and that is when I have reached a level today where I can confidently say that, okay, it doesn't matter where you come from or what your background is. If you know basic English and if you are struggling with your communication skills, I can train you and I can help you get to the point if you put in that effort yourself. So I will never
Hmm.
say that, oh, join my classes and you will become great in your language skills. No, You have to, as a learner, you have to promise me that you will put in your efforts. If you don't, then my classes will not help you at all. No one's classes can help you if you are not ready to put in that effort, right? So at that point, when I set my price point, right, as a trainer, this is what you need to keep in mind. Do not lower your value because there is competition, because I see there are a lot of people, especially these young people, who feel that, oh, I just need some pocket money and I can train people without the qualification, without the knowledge of how to train people, and they offer classes at very, very low price points, right? And
Yeah,
then a
you're
lot
right.
of learners, they will come and they will say, ma'am, that person is offering so less and this and that. So
Hmm.
that is what people need to understand, that you cannot, first of all, it's very wrong to negotiate a service. It's not a product. You're not selling something like clothes on Mintra, that you are looking for negotiation and all of that. We never negotiate when we go to a parlor or a spa. We never negotiate when we go to a restaurant.
Hmm.
We pay what it is, right? Although it can be very high priced, but we don't negotiate. But we have this mentality of negotiating with trainers. So as a trainer, when I spoke about not making the financial part your first priority, you also need to understand and respect yourself as a professional, because you're not here to do social service. We are not saying
Hmm.
that as trainers we will uh, we will do things for free. Of course we are doing things for free, that's why there is YouTube, right? It's basically
Yeah.
the kind of effort that every YouTube video needs. I think that's a lot of investment that we are doing in creating free content for our learners, right? So we also need to, once we know that, okay, we have the skill sets, we have developed ourselves, we have gained that experience. When we have that skill set, we should not think of lowering our standards to maintain with the people who are offering other skills at lower price points. So that's when our pricing comes into the place, right? So if
Hmm.
you today are working in the corporate and you want to take up training as your career, then of course you need to see what is your price point that you want to set, and you want to, of course, do a fair deal. You don't want to charge like an exuberant amount per hour, but you
Hmm.
have to give yourself a per hour rate, that okay, I was making this much in my job, now if I want to make a career switch, I need to have this much of amount every hour, so that
Yeah.
I can support myself. At the end of the day, you will also have your family, your responsibilities, and your livelihood,
Hmm.
right? So that's when your financial aspect comes into picture. As a trainer, do a fair evaluation, and then don't feel disheartened if there are people who are coming up to you and saying, oh, we are getting this same class for 100 rupees. A lot of people come to me, I say, please go ahead and join those classes, because
Hmm.
I don't mind, of course, because you as a learner, you also have your own budget and your own restrictions. But if you are somebody who wants to take classes from me, then these are my rates. And then it's not fair to negotiate with a trainer, because they have put in the hard work. If tomorrow you are working in an organization for 5 years and your boss comes to you and negotiates during salary increments, you will not like it, because you have put in that time and that effort, and you know what your
Definitely.
qualities are, right? So that's when a trainer should be smart enough to have their fair price point and not get intimidated by other unqualified trainers charging a very meager amount, right? So if somebody keeps in mind these two things, that what is the value that I want to give, so train yourself as per the value additional part. And then of course look at your own value proposition for yourself, like what is it that I want to make out of this, and then merge those together, and you can be a great trainer, you can be a fair trainer, and you can impart your knowledge, and you can share your experiences with people to help them grow.
Definitely, definitely, ma'am. You are saying right, ma'am. At the end of the day, money also play a very important role
Of course it
because
does.
definitely. because ma'am, through money we can take care of our health, our mental health, and the kind of work
Correct.
that you are doing. Definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's true.
And ma'am, you are from West Bengal, and in West Bengal, most of the people used to speak Bengali, ma'am. Ma'am, how do you train yourself through this English language? Because it's a little bit also difficult for you because your mother tongue is totally different, and the English is a
Ah,
language, it is totally different for you.
that's a great question. I have previously made a video on the same. I was from an English medium background, so knowing the language was never difficult for me. But my speaking journey was a little difficult. I would not say difficult, it was a little challenging during that time because, as I said, like you don't get that practice. Although we are studying English in school, scoring 80s, but we are not speaking the language with our friends, with our family. So that becomes a little difficult. So I have just, I think the video just got posted at 12 today. It's about my story to fluency. So you can check that for details. But it was mostly, I
Yeah.
would say, in a word or two, if I have to say, it was first realizing why it is important, why I need to speak fluently in English with people, and then just sheer hard work. There were no shortcuts. There were no ways that, and at that time, during the time when I was learning speaking the language or making myself comfortable with the language, there was not much familiarization with YouTube, although YouTube was there, but we did not have smartphones back then, back in 2006, 2007. And, we did not have as much of resources as they are available today. So it was merely finding out what is working for me. Sometimes it would be movies, sometimes it would be, books, sometimes it would be just speaking to our friends. Like we would have in our hostel, we would keep specific hours that, okay, during these few hours we will only speak in English, because all of us were staying together
Mm.
and we all wanted to crack the interviews and get good placements and all of that. So those were few things that we did in our time, and it still holds true. There is no shortcut for any skill that you wanted to learn, not just English. Any skill, you cannot expect that you will become a pro like somebody who has put in the hard work, but you will not put in the hard work. You will just look at them and you will become fluent. That's not going to
Mm.
happen.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And ma'am, I have seen your YouTube account and the Instagram account as well. You have uploaded the videos that is based on a specific word, and you can explain all those things in a very good way. So, ma'am, how will you come up such kind of ideas as well? Uploading videos in the day to day.
Well, that again requires a lot of research. So when we say that, we are when learners say we are looking for free information, that's your free information out there. And to be very honest, everybody should realize that there is a lot of research that we also need to do as creators. We need to make sure that we are bringing in fresh content, new content every single day, because that little bit of knowledge that you get in one day, if you look at a consolidated period of 6 months or 1 year, that is a lot of compounding of knowledge that is happening. So of course, putting in a lot of effort and research into the topics. Earlier I was doing a lot of firefighting, where I would do the daily content every single day, but that is very difficult to maintain consistency on the channel. So because of which my views and everything got dipped in between, because I had a fracture and all of that happened. So that's when I
Mm-hmm.
did a little bit of introspection, and I realized that this firefighting thing, the daily approach to content creation will not work. So now thankfully I have been able to create bulk content, and I'm trying to schedule for every week, so that things in my daily life, apart from my classes, I have a little bit of time for myself. I can do the things that I want to do, and I'm not constantly focused on what kind of content should I put in. So now I
Mm.
have started planning it finally.
Definitely, definitely, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, making consistency on the social media is the little bit difficult for anyone
Of
because you need to
course.
upload video on the day to day. Definitely,
Right.
it's a bit difficult for the anyone as well.
Absolutely. And it's like people feel that it's just a 30 seconds reel. What they fail to
Mm.
realize is you have to first think of a concept, then you have to do your
Concept.
research, then you have
Mm.
to shoot the video. Some people create scripts as well. So that is another another
Scripts.
step in that. I don't create scripts because I do them mostly spontaneously. So I have to shoot, then I have to edit because I don't have any help. Everything I do myself.
Mm.
So I edit my videos, then I have to do the thumbnail, then I have to do the research for SEO and prepare my description and hashtags and all of that for every single video. And then you have to sit down and you have to upload on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. So that is another step. Only then
Definitely.
the entire structure of one video from conception to uploading gets completed. So that is a lot of hard work that any creator is putting in.
Definitely, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, before doing the videos in my initial stage, I just need to write content, scripted, and then I went to the camera and I speak. Yeah.
Right, right.
This is,
Yeah,
ma'am,
I know.
such a difficult task, ma'am, in the initial stages.
Of course, yes, yes. Especially when you don't have a team, you don't have anybody who is assisting you. It's
Mm.
then it's completely on you as a person. And then for me,
Mm.
especially, you are doing a full-time job. For me, I am taking my
Mm.
classes in the morning, in the evening. I take care of my own health, like I go to the gym, I
Mm.
manage that time. And then I have a few household chores here and there. I have 3 cats, I have to look after them. And that's a lot of time and that's a lot of energy that is being put into the entire day.
Definitely, definitely.
Hmm.
And ma'am, my the last question is, ma'am, right now most of the people wants to clear a IELTS exam, ma'am.
Hmm.
Ma'am, what
Right.
type of skills the person need to have to score a good band in this exam, ma'am?
IELTS is, I think, it's a very clear-cut exam, very well defined, where you know what are the rounds you have and what are the scoring rounds
Mm.
that you have, how you can score. I think it's very well defined. And again, people who look for shortcuts, that's their biggest proof that reading, listening, speaking, and writing cannot be avoided,
Right.
right? So you cannot avoid that aspect of it. IELTS or any other exam, first of all, starts with the right kind of mindset. So any learner first needs to have that right mindset, the clarity of thoughts, why they want to give IELTS, what is your score that you want to achieve. So once you
Mm.
have in your mind, okay, I want to get band 9 or band 8, that's when you start your research and you start preparing on how you will train yourself, how many mock tests are you taking, what is the kind of time that you are investing every single day in your practice, and also being smart about your learning. A lot of people, by smart, I don't mean shortcuts, but a lot of people are not smart enough to understand what is working for them and what is not working for them. So if somebody says that, oh, you listen to YouTube videos, that will help you, and they are just playing videos, they're listening to them, they are not absorbing
Mm.
anything. They're just
Absorbing.
going on doing it because somebody has said it has worked for someone. But while you want to learn a skill, you need to ask yourself, is it working for me? So having that clarity is also important. And then of course the practice part of it, the investment of
Mm.
time. If you cannot do your own research, get a trainer for yourself, because at the end of the day, IELTS is an expensive exam, and
Yeah.
with a good band in IELTS, you can actually make, you can make good money, good avenues in future if you are going
Mm.
to a foreign country, right? So then again,
Definitely.
the investment in the preparation also becomes an important aspect of it. So all of that kept in mind, somebody can decide what should be my roadmap to clearing IELTS. would I want to go with self-learning, self-preparation, or would I want to go with a trainer? And accordingly, they can make their choices and take the correct steps in order to clear an exam like IELTS.
Definitely, ma'am. You are
Yeah.
saying right, ma'am, because at the end of the day, our efforts matters a lot. We can't learn of all those things by the watching videos as well.
Of course, of course. I say it all the time, you know. For example, everybody loves Virat Kohli, right? Now,
Yeah.
why is he successful? Why does everybody love him? Is it because he always admired Sachin Tendulkar and he watched his videos all the time and watched all his matches? Is that why people love Virat Kohli? No. He
Yeah,
became Virat Kohli because he has put in that effort consistently for so many years. There were coaches who helped him, of course. There were people who helped him to learn the sport. But at the end of the day, who put in the hard work? He has done it himself, right? Only then he has become Virat Kohli today, who is known by everybody, almost everybody around the world, right?
Definitely.
So that is one clear thinking that everybody should have in their mind, that, you know, nobody else can come and do the hard work for us. Our coaches, our mentors will be there to guide us, to give us the feedback that is needed, to show us the right path when it is needed. But at the end of the day, if you are not willing to put in the hard work, that's your reason for being unsuccessful. That's it.
Yes, you are right. You are right.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. I think Deepak, yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, I can ask so many questions.
I think we will definitely catch up once again in future. We can have another discussion for all our audience. But for today, we are pressed of time, so we will wrap up the discussion today.
Yes,
but I think it was a pretty good and informative discussion, and most of the people are going to learn a lot of things from today's discussion.
Definitely.
I loved your questions, and definitely in future, I would definitely want to connect with you again, and we can take some more questions there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. Oh, yeah, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're most welcome, Deepak. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day and all the best for everything that you are doing.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Bye. Good day.